Can you see the screen? Okay, it's back again. Well, first of all, thank you for joining us today at our Rebuilding with Resilience webinar. This is a webinar that we hold every other Monday to just give you a brief overview of what we do here at PHNX. Like I just mentioned, if you could please keep your microphone muted, we'd really appreciate it. This is a live Q&A, and we encourage you in the chat to write your questions at any time that they come to your mind. I'll be monitoring the chat, and I'll be asking those questions in real time or at the end, and I will make sure that I get everyone's questions answered. Today we have some special guests, and we have some new information. So those of you if you've been with us before, you're going to learn a few new things. Our goal for these webinars is to add a little bit different and new information every time. Today we're going to talk a little bit about permitting, and we feature one of our vendors, which is very exciting. These webinars are recorded and they live on our YouTube channel. So you're able to go there and see past webinars. If you're doing research and you're navigating the rebuilding process, it's a great place to go see some stuff before. So today we're putting
okay.
Oh, could you please mute your microphone?
Well, it still hurts, but I'm functioning. But I'm watching that.
I can mute him. Okay. He's watching our webinar.
Yes.
Today we have a special emphasis on explaining offsite versus prefab and what is the difference. We get this question a lot and it is confusing, so we wanted to just build some clarity around that. You may have seen a typo when we released this webinar that said prefab via fabrication. That is not it. It is a versus situation. So we'll get into that later. And that kind of goes along with our ViewRail friends that are here. They build our beautiful staircases that are in our homes. And so we're super excited to have them with us and talk through their product. Next slide. So first, I just want to say that here at PHNX, we're very heartbroken over the staggering loss that many of you have experienced. And we understand that, it's a very overwhelming process, and we're here to try to make it as simple and clear as possible, and we will keep this as pretty brief. And I just want to talk about our mission, Forever Homes for Everyone. We build homes that are affordable, accessible, and they are customized. They're built to last for generations. They're not only non-combustible, they're weather resistant, they're pest proof, and they're really designed for the test of time. We are a design build firm. That means that we handle everything in-house from the architecture to the construction. So you have one team that guides you through this process from beginning to end. I just like to preference and start out with that. Our next slide, I'll take a moment to introduce our talented team here at PHNX. We just have an amazing group of rock stars. We bring about a century of combined experience to the table, and we are very excited to bring that expertise to work for you if you would like to design and build a forever home. First, I'll introduce Lori Fisher. She's our CEO and founder. She has 30 years experience in architecture, design, and construction. She has a portfolio of stunning homes, and she's been designing and building with ICF since 2011. I'm Sarah, which I guess I didn't even say that at the beginning. I am the COO. I manage our streamlined process to guide you through building the home. We have Kendra Kettlehut here today. She is our senior designer with 20 years of award-winning design experience. She builds and designs beautiful homes. Adam Gill is our in-house permitting coordinator. He's here today, and he's going to talk through a lot of research he's done in the different districts and give you some idea of what's going on there. So that's super exciting. Andre Noel is our construction supervisor, and he's here with us today. He manages on-site with the builds. And we do have Carla, our client care director, and when you build with us, she's your point of contact at any time when you have any questions. So with that, I am going to pass it over to Lori and let her talk a little bit about PHNX and where we started.
Well, thank you, Sarah. And yes, we do have team of wonderful rock stars, and we all work together, and we all share our compassion and dedication to serving fire survivors. And I got involved with helping fire survivors back in 2018 when I was called to help in the Santa Rosa, the tub fire, as an architect. And so I helped several families in Santa Rosa redesign and rebuild their homes. And what I saw was really heartbreaking and very dysfunctional. And it blew my mind. And I became determined to solve the problem. And so we founded PHNX Development. And as Sarah mentioned, I've been designing and building with insulating concrete forms for quite a long time, about almost 15 years now. And it just so happens that I spent about a decade volunteering with victims of violent crime. And so I'm certified and trained in crisis intervention and trauma-informed care. So those skills actually helped me recognize that folks that have experienced what you guys have experienced are severely traumatized. And we need to, we need to understand that, we need to empathize with that. And we also needed to tailor a process that would be more responsive to your needs and, streamlined, a little bit easier to navigate. Always keeping you in control, I think, is the number one concern. But just little baby steps. We take care. It's one. We solve that problem, then we go to the next, and we solve that problem. So it's been 7 years that I've been working with fire survivors, and it really is. It's rewarding. And trust me when I say that this is the beginning of. Things are going to get better from here on out. And, and hopefully we can be here to help you get through that. So next slide. And this is really, really critical. So when I was working with those fire survivors in Santa Rosa, and, I would ask, well, what do you want? And of course, the number one thing was, we don't want to go through this again. We don't want to lose our home again. So I understood that we needed to get rid of wood. And it wasn't enough just to use one, quote unquote, non-combustible material. The whole building needs to be non-combustible, and the building code has a definition. And so I understood that it would be critical for us to receive that approved permit, that approved occupancy permit, that says we are non-combustible wood-free homes per code. And so next slide. And we are the only home builder in the United States doing this, by the way. So here's just a brief overview of the different building, or the different structural types in the building code. And there are only two, the first two, type 1 and 2, that are actually non-combustible, meaning no wood in the structure. The other three types are combustible, and type 5 is the most combustible, the least fire resistive of the 5. And guess what homes are built out of? So we are the first in the nation building type 1A wood-free non-combustible homes. This is a type that's usually only used in skyscrapers and stadiums and multiplex cinemas and things like that. So this is really a big step and a big innovation. And the key to a lot of people say, well, oh my God, that's got to be really expensive, building in concrete and steel versus wood. And no, it's not. Actually, we're about the same price, and we're definitely no more expensive, that's for sure. And the way we do it is we've basically paid attention to what we're designing with. We're designing with concrete and steel, so you're not going to design a home the same way that you would if you're building it with wood. You have to think of it differently. So understanding that the biggest challenge to getting wood out of the residential structure is the plywood in the roof. the plywood sheathing in the roof. We really don't have a non-combustible option for that. So we designed we call it the PHNX long span system. We have a patent pending on it. And our joists can span up to 32 feet. We can space them up to 8 feet on center. And it is the combination of this framing system with all-weather insulated roof panels that together form the strength that we need for the lateral resistance so that we can actually eliminate sheathing. So what we're doing is we're taking the strength of the concrete, we're taking the strength of the steel, and we're pushing it to the maximum. So in a PHNX home, we do not have any interior load-bearing walls. All of our interior framed walls are light gauge metal, and none of them are load-bearing. So we've eliminated all kinds of inspections related to hold downs and shear panels. There's no shear panels in a PHNX home, by the way. You know, where in a wood home, you're going to have 200 plus various fasteners. In a PHNX home, you only have 4. We have A307 bolts, we have Tech 5 screws, we have drywall or sheet metal screws, and we have Tapcons. Those are the only 4 fasteners, and no matter how big or small or what design, a PHNX home doesn't need more than 4 fasteners. So once you really get into that, you can kind of see how it is that we save money. And it's also very important to say, and we'll kind of touch on this, I think, when we talk about the offsite versus prefab discussion. None of the materials that we're using are new or bizarre, or, you know, we use concrete and steel. Every single material that's used in a PHNX home it's materials and methods that any contractor with a decent amount of experience is familiar with. So there's no specific like long training, and you don't have to, you know, get all these people to understand how to use these weird new products and sometimes untested products. ICF has been around for over 30 years, and we all know steel has been around for a long time. So we're really innovating in the methods, not so much the materials, but the methods. So if we can move forward on the next slide. And so as I was saying, so here's how we save money so that, you know, I mean, what we're doing is we're basically moving costs. We're not wasting money. We don't have to spend money to make wood not be wood, first off, because we're building with materials that don't burn. So we don't have to add a bunch of cost to make those materials try not to burn. So that's a huge portion of cost that's eliminated right there. We eliminate, you know, a bunch of inspections. We eliminate fasteners. So we're shortening labor. Our stucco is huge. Our stucco is a synthetic 2-coat stucco that goes right on the ICF foam. So instead of, you know, using the metal lath and the paper and the plaster, that takes, you know, 6 to 8 weeks. So we shave off a lot of time in the construction process simply because we've innovated using existing materials, and we've reconfigured them and repurposed them to make them work together more efficiently and more streamlined. And here's the other cool thing is that we actually go beyond type 1A. Because the building code never really addressed fire from outside. The building code was always about getting people out safely when there's a fire inside the building. It's about saving lives. It's never been about saving the structure. So even the most non-combustible, the most fire resistant, the most fire safe structure type in the building code is not designed to withstand wildfire, believe it or not. So in type 1A, you can still have vinyl windows, for instance. In type 1A, the exterior walls only need to be 3 hours. We've bumped our rating up to 4 hours. We also have no roof vents. Our roof does not need to be vented. So instead of having to worry about the ember intrusive vents and having, again, creating vulnerabilities that you just have to protect, we just eliminate the vulnerabilities, and then you don't have to worry about it at all. And our windows, our Sierra Pacific windows, are aluminum clad wood windows. So it's wood on the inside where you can see it, where it matters. And on the exterior, it's a heavier gauge aluminum than other companies use. And it's a proprietary powder coat system that they use. And what's great about Sierra Pacific is that they powder coat their pieces after they cut them. So look sometimes, if you get a chance, at some new Anderson windows or some other brand windows. If you look at the miter in the aluminum, you can sometimes see raw aluminum burrs in that miter. That's a vulnerability, especially when you're talking about being on the coast, with salty air, So what Sierra Pacific does is they cut their aluminum extrusions and then they powder coat them and then they assemble the window. So again, they're just eliminating the vulnerability. And these are and what we're going to see with ViewRail, there's reasons that we selected our partners. This isn't just because, we had a lunch and learn once and they bought us nice lunch food. This is because their products are really the best. And these are people that I've been working with for at least 20 years. So a lot of thought has really gone into selecting our manufacturer partners. So next slide. And I think here is where I can hand it off to Kendra. And, I just wanted to mention that, all of our homes are custom designed and it's all about you. It's not about us. So we're not that design team, that architect team that, I'm going to design what I want to design and because I know better. I know what you should like. That's not our ethos. That's not how we work. We listen to you. You tell us what your priorities are, and we design a home that is custom tailored to your needs. And so both of us have, a history of winning awards and being featured in various publications. We love our jobs. We're passionate about what we do, and we're very compassionate about the service that we're providing for all of our fire survivors. And so I think I'm going to let Kendra take it from here and share with you a little bit about our design process.
Great. Hi, guys. Yes, I'm so excited when we get started with you guys on the process. So most of you didn't sign up for this because you came here wanting a new house. You needed a new house. And so our love and our passion for what we do is not just design, it's designing with you, like Lori said. And so part of this is taking those aspects of the home that you loved, the aspects that you cherish and you want to really capture and bring into your new home. And we'll take those, and then we'll take the things that maybe didn't work as well, or areas of the house that you could improve upon, or things that you didn't have that you want. And that's where we can get excited about this new build. So if you want to go to the next slide. So again, touching on, these are various renderings and images of homes that we've done. And really it is going to come down to what it is that you want. And we will start that. We can go into the next slide. We'll start that with a kickoff, a 2-hour kickoff where we, if you have any inspiration images, anything that you want to share with us beforehand, that's great. But it's a 2-hour call where we're going to go through everything related to your home and what you want in your new home. And not just the spaces and where they're adjacent and how they flow, but also why. Like, why do you, not just the what, but why do you, want this here? Or why do you want this size? Like, when we understand that aspect, we can take all the parts and pieces and put the puzzle together and create a beautiful home for you. So that's why we do a really big deep dive discovery call for 2 hours. And then we'll take all of that information, we will go back to the drawing board, we will put together your initial concepts. And the concept is going to be, the concept design of your home is, I think, a little bit further along than concept in my previous work experience, but you are going to get not only floor plans of the home that we're going to put together for you based on all of your feedback, but you will get literally a 3D model that we will walk you through on your site, where you are going to see everything in that home. Now, the only things you won't have in this first will be materials, and that we will get to when we get to the interior design. But we will start, and you will, after that first design meeting, we will, present what we've put together. We will get your feedback. We will take all of that, and then we will refine it. Usually it only takes 2 of these meetings for us to nail down what it is that we want to put together based on all of your information. So once we get the plans approved by you, we will put them into construction document phase and get them ready for permit. Once we have gotten them into permitting process, then we will come back to you and I will walk through with you the interior design process, which is a streamlined packages of, there's plenty of choice, but it's not overwhelming. So you can go through our vision builder process with me, and based on your style, your taste, the different color palettes that you're drawn to, we can help you facilitate getting those selections made without overwhelming you. So once that's all decided, and while we're waiting for our permit, then we can make those decisions. And then as soon as we get the permit, we are ready to build. So that's beginning to end until we start construction, what your process is going to look like with us. So excellent. I think this might be you, Lori.
Hey.
It's exciting.
Indra, I'm sure we'll have some questions about that design process. So probably the biggest innovation that Phoenix has brought to the scene, is that we are the first home builder ever in the history of this industry to have forged an alliance with an insurance company. So back in November, we announced our new alliance with Mercury Insurance. Mercury understands what Type 1A means, and they saw the benefits. They saw the fact that they could trust our company, and that they could trust the fact that we're getting an occupancy permit, we're getting building plans approved as Type 1A, and that meant something. But then also all the other aspects of it, the fact that we don't have any, structural interior walls. So if there is ever any water damage, if a toilet leaks, or a dishwasher overflows, or bathtub overflows, or whatever, if there's water damage, we don't have to get a structural engineer involved. So that means you don't need a permit. So you're just removing drywall and maybe some cabinets or flooring, and you're good to go. You don't have to change anything structural when there's typical damage to your home. So those two things, the fact that we were Type 1A non-combustible, wood free, but also that we were so durable and that we could resist all kinds of other damage as well. So those two factors came together, and so Mercury said, hey, yeah, we'll insure you. So this is never before. So we've already had our first two, Phoenix 1 and Phoenix 3. Those two owners now have signed policies with Mercury Insurance, and I'm not allowed to tell you the numbers, but honestly, the discounts are amazing, and they're very good policies. For the Phoenix 1 folks, they lost their home in Santa Clarita in the tick fire, and their policy is now actually less than they were paying before they lost their home. And it's a better policy. So really, we are very, very excited to be bringing this to the fore. And, you know, just about every home that we rebuild so far, Mercury is on board to insure. So that's something you won't get from any other company. And so what's the next slide? So here we go. So I'm going to hand it off to Adam Jill. And so, by the way, Adam is a real certified building official, and he is our own private plan checker. So he's going to make sure that we can go through these permitting processes just as streamlined as our design and construction processes are. And by the way, he has experience plan checking Phoenix homes. So he knows all the ins and outs, and so he can speak plan checker language when he's talking to those other building officials. So take it away, Adam. Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks for the amazing intro there. That sounds great. I hope everyone's doing well. I know some of you are here because you're in the need of a home right now, and I'm sorry for everything that everybody's been through so far. But we're to help. We're here to help everybody out. And I've found out some really good information from all the jurisdictions so far that we can somehow streamline some of these plan checks and the whole permitting process in general. Looks like the city of LA has a 2 weeks general timeline, and in order to get it streamlined, they have a 1 week expedited timeline for plan review, which is really, really darn fast. I mean, a typical plan review time looks like about 6 to 8 weeks for most jurisdictions in California, and I've seen them higher than that as well. So that's really darn fast. Also, if you are able to get an expedited review based on less than 10% increase in the size or square footage or height of the home, then you can get it done in 1 week. And that's almost unheard of. Even if you go out and pay for expedited processing at a third-party plan review firm, you're not going to get it within a week. That's pretty much unheard of. So some of the fees are higher for expedited permits for the city of Los Angeles, and that's just mostly the base fee. So instead of, say, putting 50% down for your plan review, you would end up putting 75% down for the plan review. It doesn't necessarily increase the cost of your permit processing overall, or the overall cost of your building permit. I guess Los Angeles County, so the city of Los Angeles, sorry, only the initial assignment to a plans examiner can be prioritized. As you'll see here, the review follows standard timelines once it's assigned. So they'll assign it to a plans examiner and hopefully get your first review done within a week. And then if you have some revisions or something like that, they might not get to it as quickly. So we're going to do our best to try and get it right the first time. As Lori said, I'm a plans examiner by trade. That's my day job, and I've seen some of the plans so far, and I'm doing everything I can to try and get schooled up so that we don't have to worry about revisions or redos on anything. So that's my hope, anyhow. Does anybody have any questions so far? Nothing yet. Okay.
Wait,
Plus,
oh.
Go ahead.
I'm sure that, or does somebody have a question, or
I had a, yeah, I'm sorry. I tried to raise my hand, but
Oh, sure. Sorry.
It's been a while on Zoom. But just real quick, it says, what does it mean by exempt from green code? What?
So the green code review, there's a lot of stuff that goes with that. If you have green code or electronic vehicle, some of that stuff, anything like pre-2009, if you're original house was built before 2009, you won't have to follow any of these code requirements for Los Angeles County. The cool roof requirement, which you're not going to need anyways. I mean, we have an R38, R 40 something roof system on these homes anyways, right, Lori?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's over R30.
Yeah. Okay.
And so depending on the color, cool roofs do have to be lighter in color, but regardless of the color coding, they all are high reflectivity, and they're all very energy efficient. But as far as like the green code, so there is a whole section of the building code called the Cal Green, California Green Building Code Standards. And it varies by jurisdiction. I mean, there's some things in there that are mandatory, like for instance, providing for EV charging, certain amount of solar panels. I'm not sure if that's in there or not. Water efficiency stuff, like gray water. I mean, so it really depends on per jurisdiction, a lot of what they have decided to incorporate and require in the Cal Green building code. And so what Los Angeles County is saying is that if you're rebuilding from probably the Eaton fire, they will waive the Los Angeles County requirements for the green code, which can be a really big deal. Something like gray water, that can be very expensive because you have to kind of double pipe for it. So
right, that can save a lot of time and money being exempt from those codes. I'd say the Phoenix homes are already pretty darn energy efficient compared to most homes out there. And so it's not going to be a huge setback to not have to follow some of these codes. I'd say probably 90% of what you do is already well within the code guidelines. But just to have an exemption here and there would probably be very helpful, like you said, in terms of upfront costs and time.
Yeah, and just to put a cross the T on that, or dot the I, whatever. So Phoenix Homes, we can already, the highest rating of Cal Green is tier 2. And it's really hard to achieve. And Phoenix Homes basically are there. There's like a couple additional things that we would have to do to make that tier 2 level. But in reality, I mean, we're basically almost there, and definitely a tier 1. We can definitely make that, and that's without doing anything. That's just being a Phoenix. So,
all right. So Los Angeles County seems like they have a pretty good deal here as far as what gets expedited. It's all iterations of the plan review process. So if you're within Los Angeles County, your expedited review will be 2 weeks on the first review and 1 week in case you need a recheck or any revisions there. So that's, like I said, with the city of LA, that's pretty darn fast. I mean, a 2-week review is just about unheard of anyway. So the fact that they're willing to do 1 week on a recheck, they must have quite a few plans examiners working there. That's all I have to say. There's a lot of things to look at in just one house. I know normally it takes me for a decent size, 1,500 to 2,000 square foot house, it takes me about 8 hours to do a plan review. Something like these Phoenix homes, they maybe took us, I'd say 16 hours for the first review, just because we were kind of wrapping our heads around the type 1A construction. There's a lot of considerations that go into that. But I have a feeling it's going to go much smoother once we get 1 or 2 of these plans out to each of these jurisdictions and they start to know what they're looking for in regards to 1A construction. Let's see. It looks like Ventura County, only the first round of plan review once again is expedited. And who qualifies for that? It must be the original homeowner who lost their home in the fire when it happened, and they must be the ones that are rebuilding. So their expedited process isn't quite as good as LA's. But once again, all the fees are waived for expedited processing. No issuance fee, expedited processing fee, or tech fees. And it looks like 5 weeks is their typical turnaround time, and it would be about 2.5 weeks for the first round of plan check if you're getting expedited processing. So second review is currently at 6 weeks, which is more typical of what you would see in California for first review. So if we get it right the first time, that's going to help somebody out quite a bit. Larger rebuild says may not qualify for the fee waiver. So if you're building a house that's 1.5 to 2 times as big, as the previous one, which was lost in the fire, that you might have to pay the expedited processing fees on that. We'll try and do our best. I don't know what we can do as far as how many different layouts we have for homes, different sizes of homes, but we'll try and get you within that 110% if that's your main goal of getting your plan review in faster. So I'll do everything I can personally to check every aspect of your project and make sure we can get it through the first time. Can't guarantee that, but I'm pretty confident that after a few of these, we'll be able to get pretty dialed.
Adam, do you know if any of the jurisdictions require some kind of pre-review, like a pre-submittal review?
Not to my knowledge, no. It looks like the city of LA only has no planning review, which is nice. So planning wouldn't even have to look at your project if you're within that general same footprint of the home.
And that's even in coastal?
I'll have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that applies to coastal as well.
Wow.
I know some of these are giving us some freebies as far as having to get soil studies and things like that. So we may be able to skip some of those items as well. So I'll have to do a little bit more research, find out exactly what we can skip on these. Some of them were geotech reports. Some of that stuff can be costly and time consuming as well. So
that's actually on my list to talk to you about. So
yeah, that's on my radar. I've read it in a couple spots, and I need to get that a little more organized on my end, but I'm working on it.
Okay, so well, thank you so much, Adam. And yeah,
Welcome.
I mean, if people have more questions, then please just type it in the chat, and then we'll answer everybody's questions at the end. Adam, thank you so much. That was really informative. So really looking forward to seeing how quickly we can get these through,
Sure.
It'd be kind of like a personal best.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how fast we can get this done.
Yeah.
It looks like Don had a question there. What types of items are recalled on a plan review? There's so many different things that we'd look at in a single plan review for a home. I mean, we were talking about insulation values, energy reports. A lot of things in energy reports can come up with some issues sometimes. The biggest thing that I'm concerned about as a plans examiner is structural. I'm worried about life safety issues, making sure you got enough smoke detectors, making sure you got the proper electrical requirements from the electrical code, and making sure, let's see, location of bathrooms, kitchen areas.
In residential, that's not so much of a concern. But there are like egress issues.
Right. Yeah, egress, load path is my main concern, making sure we're getting all of our structural loads from the roof all the way down to the foundation, making sure there's proper fastening at every point of connection in between there. And second to that, life safety, egress, those are my main issues.
Yeah, I think probably the most important thing for people who are new to this process to know is that plan review is not about the design, really. There are some what they would consider planning sort of issues, clearances, things like that. But it's not at all a review like to make, does this make sense? Plenty of bad design has managed to get a permit, right?
You can have a lot of bad designs that are still up to code. I'll say that.
Exactly. So the plans examiner role is not to judge the design or make the design better. They're there to make sure that the project, the building will be in conformance with all current codes. And here's something that a lot of people may not know too, is that ultimately it is the architect of record, and for Phoenix, that is myself. It's my responsibility in the end to make sure that your home complies with code. You know, plans examiners are human, they miss things. Even inspectors miss things. And, you know, if we get all down the road and then suddenly there's something that comes up, there's some issue, and it wasn't the code, you know, we can't go back and blame the city on it. You know, that's ultimately it is the architect's responsibility. And that's why it's so important to have a registered architect, because we are really officials, you know, we're being held liable and responsible to enforce the law. And in this case, the law is the building codes. So regardless of what the plan, you know, the plans examiners are there to verify, but it's really the job of a good architect to make sure that we're in compliance. I mean, you know, whether or not we even have a plan check, right? So anyways.
Right.
So I think we can move on. And then again, if there's more questions for Adam, just throw them in the chat, and you know, we can talk more at the end. So if we can go to the next slide, I think we're going to start. Next slide. Oh, here we go. Okay. So one thing that I get asked a lot, and it seems to, you know, I always get asked, well, is Phoenix prefab? Is it modular? Is it manufactured? You know, and no, the answer is no. So what we use a lot of, however, is off-site fabrication. So there's a difference between off-site fabrication and prefabrication. It's a big difference. So there was a typo in the email blast that went out. So don't pay attention to that. This is what we meant to say: off-site versus prefab. So prefabrication is manufactured, and those are there's no design modifications are possible. Okay, so prefab, you know, you have modular homes, you have manufactured homes, you have sometimes have kits, you have wall panels, possibly, you know, like pre-cut framing kits, things like that. You know, the modular aspect can be, you know, I mean, it's modules, you know, it's a collection of components that is assembled in a specific way, and you decide to buy that, and that's what you get. And you can't make modifications because it's mass produced, and therein lies the savings. That's how you save. So you know, so prefabrication means that you know, there's plan A, plan B, plan C. And if you want an extra bathroom, or if you want the door to move from here to there, they can't do it, because they would have to retool their entire assembly line process in order to make that change for you. So that's the huge drawback with manufactured and modular homes. And you know, and I've seen it. I actually was hired to help a client work through a manufactured home back in 2010. And we didn't go that route because it was just too rigid. And you know, every time we asked, well, can we do this? Can we do that? No, 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 no. And so, and you're going to find that. And basically what I tell people is there's a reason why we aren't building every single building as modular. There's a reason. It's a good solution in some particular cases, but it's not really a good solution for custom homes for folks, you know, and especially not fire rebuilds, because everybody's site is different. There's a lot of rules about, like Adam just said, in order to qualify for these plan expedite programs, you need to, kind of stick to your original size of your house. And so those modular homes sometimes just aren't going to fit, they're not going to make sense on your property, and you can't change them. So off-site fabrication, however, so prefabrication and off-site fabrication, they're both manufactured. Okay, they're both manufactured elsewhere than on the job site. But when we refer to off-site fabrication, it's basically, that's all it is. They're fabricating it off-site for us. And so that product is designed in concert with us, the designers, and the manufacturer. So it's designed specifically for that project. But because of that manufacturer's innovations, they have their own streamlined production process. And so it's a win-win situation for us both. So we wind up getting, we wind up getting a fully customed, gorgeous product like you're going to see next coming up here from ViewRail, but it gets shipped in parts and pieces that we can install. And so what you get is this gorgeous, elegant floating staircase, and the rod railings and everything. And it's a lot more economical than if you were to have it custom fabricated, which would be your other option. And so, like if you're going to do a steel stair floating staircase like this, like you're going to see, without ViewRail, well, you have to pay me to design it, or me and Kendra to design it. Then we have to pay a structural engineer to engineer it. And then we have to find a steel fabricator to fabricate it and powder coat it and install it. And then it has to go through a rigorous plan check process with a plan examiner like Adam. We don't have to do any of that stuff with ViewRail. ViewRail does all of the engineering. ViewRail has all of the shop drawings all ready to go. They even have testing reports so that the plans examiners don't have to review structural calcs. That's huge for the stairs and the railings. So it's not just the fact that we're saving money on the actual materials and methods of the stairs, but we're also saving all of this soft cost in design and engineering and plan checking that we would normally have with a custom staircase like you're going to see. And so and so you see there, so it's not just ViewRail stairs. Windows are actually considered off-site fabrication. They're designed for your project, and they're fabricated in a facility off-site. Our roof panels, all-weather insulated panels, are steel. It's a 5-inch foam steel sandwich. Those are fabricated off-site per our specifications. And then, of course, our patent-pending PHNX Longspan system that is fabricated in San Diego. And again, it's a streamlined off-site fabrication process. So because we've kind of cherry-picked all of these best of products, that again, it's how we save time, it's how we save money, it's how we cut down and we streamline the process to make it easier and faster. And currently we're at the same cost as traditional. But if you're really comparing apples to apples, personally, I think if you're going to do traditional, it would be a lot more expensive to build a PHNX. So, but you're not going to spend more than you would to build a wood home with us, that's for sure. So with all that being said, I will introduce Justin Brown with ViewRail. And so take it away, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Lori. Appreciate that. I also have Scott on the call too from our team. So I'll do a brief intro of who I am, and then Scott as well. So yeah, I'm currently a regional sales manager here at ViewRail. I have been overseeing our west region, so essentially the Rocky Mountains and everything to the west, overseeing our inside sales team here at our headquarters in northern Indiana. So I've been here at ViewRail for, it'll be 7 years this May. So yeah, it's been a great journey to see the growth that ViewRail has had, and Lori did a great job of selling our product. And yeah, Lori, if you're looking for a shift, we'd love to have you join the team. You did great there. So Yeah, but we really excited to join you guys, and I'll let Scott go ahead and introduce himself.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, first of all, thank you, Lori, Sarah, and the rest of the Phoenix crew for helping get this set up. Glad to be a part of this. Like Justin said, my name is Scott Gidman. I'm the inside sales director here at ViewRail. Justin's got me by about a week, I think, on the employee status. I started in June of 18, so I'm just a little behind him. I spent a lot of my time at ViewRail focused on our floating stair line of products. So I spent a lot of time developing, especially our mono stringer, which is the single steel beam staircase. Just to kind of start off, one of our company values is eternal, which means that we like to treat everyone that we interact with, whether a customer, a vendor, our internal employees, as though they are eternal. And it's pretty cool to work with a company like Phoenix, who also has very, very similar values. Is that they want to work with people that have gone through a hardship. And so it's pretty cool to partner with a company like Phoenix. Who is ViewRail though? We're America's first choice for floating stairs, modern glass, and cable railing systems. We did over 30,000 projects in 2024. Our mission statement for ViewRail is transforming complexity into beautiful simplicity, crafting products that define exceptional spaces, which again, it's exactly what Phoenix is doing, which is really cool. They're taking something that's complex and they're working to make it simple, and they want it to your space to be in not just a space, but an exceptional space, which is a really cool thing as well to see how we're aligned in some of those things. We're based in the Midwest. That's where our headquarters is and where we're founded. We're close to Notre Dame. If you're aware of where Notre Dame is, we have over 350,000 square foot of manufacturing facilities. We are over 350 employees. And one of the big things that we focus on is making everything in-house that we can. So we make our glass, all of our metal products, our wood products, even a lot of the little pieces of hardware. We're actually making those in-house rather than trying to source those overseas or from a third party that we have less control over. And if you look kind of at the right side of that screen there, you can see it there too. I mean, we work on the design, the engineering, the manufacturing, any fabrication needed, delivery, and we also offer installation services as well nationwide. So we really try to make it as simple as possible and try to cover all those things. And where traditionally you have to work with many different vendors to accomplish something as beautiful as a cohesive stair and railing element in your home. We want to bring it under one roof and limit the amount of voices that you have to work with. You can go ahead to next slide, Sarah. So just to jump into a little bit of what we offer, this is kind of the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the industry. We offer cable railing, where you have metal posts, or it can work with integrated wood posts. We offer rod railing, which is if you look at those pictures at the bottom, it's actually a stainless steel rod and not a cable, though it looks very similar. We kind of call it like cable railing 2.0. It's for someone wanting a little bit of something a little bit more unique, and it also comes with the advantages of being an even higher grade stainless steel than you can get cable in, as well as it requires much less maintenance than a cable product. If you want to jump to the next slide, back one, I think. Okay, we had a glass slide. I thought maybe we didn't send it over correctly. We can jump in here. what's cool about the glass that you can see on some of these stair products is that we actually cut and laminate it in-house. We offer a variety of even finishes on glass, so you can get the ultra clear glass, or we could do a frosted or a tinted with a solar gray tint. We also offer light bronze and a dark bronze finish on the glass as well. Really, just if you want to get a little fancy on some of that stuff. And one thing is we only use the low iron glass, so sometimes glass will have that little bit of a greenish tint to it. We only use the low iron glass, and because we manufacture everything here, it allows us to offer it at in most cases the same price as a competitor would offer for the full iron glass or the more greenish hue. Yes,
Scott,
Justin?
we put the slide in the chat so we can see that.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So it just that slide highlights just a variety of other glass options that we do have. We have many different ways that you can mount the glass, and that's kind of all part of the fun is we get to work with you to design a space that works for you and that you like. And then the stairs that you see here, this is the most fun because we get to do it all. We get to do the stairs and the railing, and it's really where we get to create something unique for your home. And so we just launched some new finish options. So we have over 23 standard metal finish options, 44 wood finish options. We can do LEDs in all the treads or in your handrail. So we have lots of cool, unique little things that we can do to make your project special. These are 4 of our main product lines. So the Flight Mono is a super versatile one there on the top left. It can work in almost any scenario. We have a Flight Stack system on the upper right, which is a really unique system where it actually has a hidden steel system in there where but it is designed as to almost look impossible for how it's built. Same thing, bottom left, we have the Flight Cantilever where it's like the treads are coming right out of the wall. It's really, really cool system. And then I believe we have the most beautiful Flight Spiral, or the spiral stair in the market, where when you look at it from above, it has this really neat fan design. I just think it's the most unique interior spiral stair on the market. So that's a little bit about what we do. We've loved working with Phoenix on some projects, and we want to make sure that we can help create the feeling you want people to have when they walk into your home. And so we would love to collaborate with you and Phoenix on your home to make it not just a good space, but an exceptional space. Would be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. If there are any, I wanted to keep it a little brief for everyone. Yeah, Justin's lighting up the chats right now with some images for us.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
yeah, oh my God, that's a beautiful photo. Well, are you guys ready to wrap it up then, or because maybe we can just start opening it up to questions, just general questions as well.
Yeah, that's mainly the things we were going to cover from Vero.
Okay. So Sarah, I think if you want to
Yeah, I think I'm going to
the,
open the floor up here if anyone would like to ask a question. So far, we've got everything answered that's been in the chat.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Oh, yes, please.
Well, first of all, congratulations, because I know what you have done, which, by the way, you're doing a phenomenal job. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been an easy journey for sure. And I want to thank you for leading the way. This is so needed. I have a lot of questions, but I will ask only 3. First of all, all the design, everything is beautiful, but at appears to me that this apply only for luxury residents, luxury residential, not for regular people that need to, housing that is affordable. At least that's the perception from the outside, that is apply only for luxury homes. That's number one. The number two is, with wood, you have always the termite downside. I'm wondering what is the cons with this new method and technology that you are offering? What is the really, the downside? And the last one, design. In design, what is the real cost for design and architectural job? Because I had seen very big range of cost in architectural and design. So I'm wondering if your prices are competitive with what is needed today in California.
Okay, those are excellent questions. And so I think number one, and I'm gonna answer this for the ViewRail guys about the luxury.
We'll test you, Lori.
Because yes, it's stunning, and yes, it looks like luxury. But in reality, because of the efficiencies, the ViewRail efficiencies, it is no more expensive than paying someone. Now it's hard to separate out, if you're building a traditional wood framed home, then it's hard to separate out the cost of framing the stairs. That's very hard to separate out. But if you go back to the thesis of, how Phoenix works and how we were able to achieve cost parity with traditional construction, it's by eliminating other costs that we are able to. So with Phoenix, it's really important to look at the bottom line and see that the bottom line is no more than a traditional cost. Now, the thing about doing stairs in a type 1A wood-free home is that we would have to, as the alternative to this offsite fabricated stair, would be that we would have to frame it ourselves. So then we get back into design costs, engineering costs, additional plan checking costs, and then the additional labor. And because then we're also getting into load bearing framing, which then, so that's going to increase the structural costs because we're adding back structural pages and structural details and things back into. So the big equation, in the bottom line, you get to have this luxury stair for not a luxury price. And, believe me when I say that our costs are very much in line with any other wood build, even with the ViewRail stair. Now, our standard spec is the flight mono. Costs are definitely higher when you want to have the glass railings and like the cantilever stair and things like the lights and all that. Sure, that starts getting, that starts adding cost. But the flight mono is a very affordable, economical element. And then because ViewRail also makes railings. So when we do have a project that has a mezzanine or, an opening around the stair or a big deck outside, ViewRail also does the railings. And our standard is the rod railing. I made a little comment in the chat about cable railings. So in California, we're really turning away from cable railings. Inspectors aren't really liking them much anymore. And the rod railing is no more expensive and it looks great. It looks very similar to the cable. You can't really tell the difference. And it's just way more durable. It's not, those cables aren't going to stretch out and get loose and, and things like that. But do you, Scott or Justin, do you want to add anything about that, the luxury question?
I mean, I think you nailed it most part. Of course, we do go certain designs and styles and finishes do end up going in some very high-end luxury homes. However, that's probably 10% of our clientele. And of course, we highlight a lot of those photos, and our marketing team throws a lot of those photos into the chats. So yes, as long as you are, our I already said it, but meat and potatoes is not that high end, not luxury. And so yeah, if you take that top left photo and instead of the glass and do a rod system on that, I mean, it's going to greatly reduce the cost for everyone and make it certainly attainable for a new home.
Mhm. And then in regards to our design fees, we are definitely more reasonable than most architectural fees out there. Again, it goes back to our streamlined process, because we've developed this, and it basically, the way it happened was I was focused on creating a streamlined design process that was trauma informed. So it had to be easy to manage, easy to digest, in phases and stages that are, we make one decision and then we go on to the next one and we go on to the next one. And the thing is that when you have that as a goal, the services that you're providing also become easier. So basically that is how we are able to, I mean, I would, I know there's a lot of numbers waltzing around now, especially, it's pretty crazy. So we're trying to make sure that we get our arms around where these costs are going. Okay. So right now we really do need to keep that part of the conversation very open. However, what I can say pretty confidently is that we are, I would say, your average architectural fee, we're probably 60% of your average architectural fee. But it's really more about how you want us to work. We're also currently looking at, we're very interested in the Altadena Homes Collection catalog. And, we're currently looking at submitting a couple of home designs for that catalog. So for those, the design fees would be extremely low. But the way our fees are structured is it's in that initial design phase. If you want us to explore multiple iterations, we're happy to do that. You control the process. Or if you just want to go really quick and get it done, we can do that too. So the way we base our concept design phase is based on an hourly fee. And then once we get your design dialed in and we put together your PHNX estimate for you, and again, it's just an estimate, but it's a pretty accurate one for that time period. Once you sign off on that estimate and you sign off on the design, then we move into a fixed fee contract and that, to do the construction documents and the permitting. So that then depends on the design itself, and how involved it is. But, in any case, it's going to be, our fees are definitely much more accessible than your standard architectural fee.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Olivia.
We do have a question here. Is there an alternative to stairs for people with mobility issues, or are there design features suitable for someone with a mobility issue?
Well, let's see. For one thing, if we can, we'll design a one-story home for you. And because, both Kendra and I have backgrounds in commercial commercial architecture and design. We know all the ADA rules. You know, we design, you know, accessible restrooms in our sleep. So, you know, so if you really want a home that is fully 2-code accessible, universal design, we have the skills and the knowledge to do that. Now, if you have a 2-story home, if it's important to you to have a 2-story home, then, you know, the options, I mean, what, you know, we could either, I mean, there's always residential elevators. They've come down a lot in cost in the past decade or so. Or, you know, there's those retrofit mobile stair lifts, you know, chair lifts that you, and most of our staircases are designed to go against a wall. You know, at least one side is on a wall. So, you know, we can, and if that's a requirement, then we, right from the start, okay, they're going to need a chair lift to go on this stair. We'll design the stair so that it can easily accommodate a chair lift. So that's not a problem.
Are there any issues with using this product on the hilly parts of Altadena?
Of building a Phoenix home?
Yeah, building a Phoenix home.
Not at all. You should see our Yosemite project. That site is like, it's about 45 degrees slope and loaded with rock, granite. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's a rendering right in the middle there, but the home is almost complete. So the actual home actually looks like that. In fact, it was funny because I sent a couple of recent photos to our client, and she was laughing because she's like, "Oh my God, I thought it was the rendering."
Mm.
Nope, it's the real house. And so that's a super accurate rendering. And that's what the site looks like. And believe me, we got a workout when we were building it. And we still are, you know, there's still some work that needs to be done down on the bottom there. But yeah, so, you know, but here's the thing about sloping sites, or, you know, upside down houses, we call it, you know, the houses that you walk in on the entry level and then you go down to kind of like a partial basement under the house. You know, there's costs associated with that. You know, a lot of you may have retaining walls and footings and things like that from your leftover from your previous home that didn't burn because they were concrete. But unfortunately, the concrete gets very damaged in high temperatures. And then even besides that, even if your footings were 5 years old, they might have required some kind of upgrade or retrofit to be used in the current home. They're crooked, they're cracked, and, you know, trying to build on any existing walls just really winds up limiting us. You know, it's just not worth it to try and keep those existing footings and things. So, you know, just know that if you do have a sloping site, if it's a tough to access site, if we're going to have to dig and excavate and build retaining walls, that's going to add cost, you know? So with our Phoenix streamlined system and with the estimating system that we use, you know, we can get pretty close to, you know, how much that structure is going to cost from the slab up, okay, within that building envelope. But as far as what's going on below it in the dirt, that is really hard to know. You know, a lot of times you know, you don't even really have a good handle on site costs until you're actually doing it. For the Yosemite house, we're about $125,000 in on just excavation costs. Okay. Now that was a site that did not have a home on it previously. So it maybe, you know, for a rebuild, especially if you already had a partial basement before, there might not be as much grading or excavation. But, you know, I just want everybody to understand that there's a big chunk of money that also has to address the site. And even if we're not doing major excavation, there's still grading that needs to happen. There's still drainage that needs to happen. You know, we have to think about the driveway and the walk going up to your house, maybe some stairs. So there's things that are happening outside of the envelope of your house that that are additional, you know, that's an additional category of construction cost. Sorry if I got a little long-winded there. That never happens.
Thank you. You addressed it well.
Okay.
I believe that's all the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let the team say goodbye first. Does everybody, you know, Adam, Kendra, Andre Noel is here too.
It's in here. I let him in a little late. Sorry, Andre Noel. It's in the waiting room and I didn't notice.
Yes, Andre Noel is our in-house perfectionist. And so he makes sure that all the details are dialed in, and he's passionate about perfection and details. So it's really good to have him on our team.
Period.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay, awesome.
Yeah.
And so thank you to Adam. That was a great presentation. And we are definitely, and I saw in the chat that Karen Bass made an announcement just today, I guess, that all fees are waived for Palisades survivors. That's amazing. So, you know, we have to look into that and see exactly what the ramifications are of that. And but Adam's on it. And so we are always going to have the most up to date. And as we move forward, as we get more and more homes through the process and get them permitted, our permitting Phoenix homes is going to go faster and easier. So just by the nature of what we do and the streamlined nature of our design and materials and methods. So, and then Kendra, thank you so much for joining us. And so if you do decide to, you know, you sign up with us to help you recover and build your forever home, you'll definitely be working a lot with Kendra. And Sarah, of course, our chief operations officer, strategic communicator. I like to say she's my nerd translator. So, but of course, ViewRail. Thanks, Justin and Scott. That was an awesome presentation. I really appreciate your time. And most of all, for all of you, I really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable. Please reach out, continue to ask us questions. All of our webinars are archived. Go look at our previous webinars. More will be coming up. We have various issues that are coming up. We're going to have a webinar about financing your build. That's in the works right now. We have all-weather insulated panels that's going to join us at some point. We've got Sierra Pacific windows. I can't remember who else, but anyways, we might even have Mitsubishi because their systems are standard specification as well. So lots more to learn and lots more to share, and we're happy to share it. And we hope all of you are taking care of yourselves. That's really important. I know this is a tough journey. It's probably, for a lot of you, it's probably the toughest journey you're ever gonna have to make in your lives. And we want to be here for you. We want to help you. And when we say forever homes for everyone, we mean it. We are not a luxury home builder. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're happy to do the luxury home, and we can do it. We can do that. But we are also dedicated to making these homes affordable. And, you know, we can't work miracles, but we're sure going to do our best to figure out a way to build as many homes as we can for as many different types of people as we can. So anyways, I really want to thank all of you for your time, and thank you, team. And looking forward to seeing you around at other webinars. See you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.